Good morning. This is Mr. Erlin. Today we're going to be talking about angles of elevation and angles of depression. So the concept here is that you get a word problem. And in the word problem, they give a phrase like angle of elevation or angle of depression, and you have to know where that belongs in the triangle. So to begin with, in concept, if your person is here and they're looking out at the horizon, and then they turn their gaze up, in other words, they elevate their gaze, this is called an angle of elevation. On the other hand, if they, starting from looking at the horizon, decide to look down, so that they're now looking that way, that's called the angle of depression. So that's the first step in all these problems, and otherwise it really is just a lot like trig, like we've been doing. So for example, problem number 1, Casey sights the top of an 84-foot tall lighthouse at an angle of elevation of 58. Okay, so this is actually the picture that's up here. If Casey is 6 feet tall, and we know that the angle of elevation, which is right there, is 58 degrees, how far is he standing from the base of the lighthouse? We're looking for this distance here. And we know that when we do trig, we just need a triangle. So I'm going to just draw myself the triangle that's so important. And I'm recognizing that Casey's over here. There's a 6-foot add-on there that I'll do in the end. But this is 58 degrees. The lighthouse is 84 feet tall. But if the lighthouse is 84 feet tall, and Casey's standing 6 feet already, then by subtracting 6, I get 78. In other words, the little triangle that I'm looking at has a leg here of just 78. It's 6 fewer than the full lighthouse. And we're looking for this. In order to do my trig, this is my angle that I know information about, so I set that as my reference point. This side is opposite, this side is adjacent. That looks like my TOA relationship. So the tangent of 58 equals 78 over x, cross multiply, and I get x times tan 58 equals 78. Divide both sides by tan 58. And I get that x is approximately equal to, using my calculator, 78 divided by tan 58. And I get 48.73981. This says round to the nearest tenth, so it would be 48.7. For the next one, angle of elevation from a kicker's foot to a football on the football field to the top of the goal bars. So he's kicking up like that. This is 17 degrees. If he's standing 131 feet from the base, how tall is the goal post? And again, it's going to be a right triangle we're looking at, so you just have to put the pieces in place. So this is our x, this is 131, this is 17. And again, relative to this angle, this is opposite and adjacent. That tells me it's a tangent relationship, and so I'll say that the tangent of 17 is equal to x over 131, cross multiply, and I get x is 131 times the tangent of 17, which is approximately equal to 40.050719, and we're still looking at the nearest tenth. So when I split it there, the number after this is greater than 5. It's a little bit higher than that. Therefore, this part rounds up, and it's 40.1. Leah's mom is standing on the bottom of the slide of the playground, waiting for Leah to slide down. If the angle of elevation from the bottom of the slide is 46 degrees, so looking up, and the slide has a vertical height of 9 feet, find the length of the slide. So now we're looking for this slanted length. Relative to this angle, that's opposite and hypotenuse. So katoas, that's sine. So the sine of 46 is equal to 9 over x. Cross multiply. 9 is equal to x times sine of 46. Divide by sine of 46. And you get x is equal to 9 divided by sine of 46, which is approximately equal to 12.51147. To the nearest tenth, it would be 12.5. Last example. A dog is standing 5 feet from the base of a tree looking up at a cat that has climbed 16 feet up the tree. So 16 feet up the tree, and the dog is standing 5 feet from the base. And the question is, what is the angle of elevation? And again, it's all about using that phrase, angle of elevation, to see what we're talking about. Relative to this angle, it's opposite and adjacent. That again is the tangent. And this time I'd say the tangent of the angle is equal to 16 over 5. And instead of putting it over 1 and cross multiplying, that doesn't get me any closer to finding the value of x. What's being done to x that I have to undo to solve it? Well, x is being tangented. So I'm going to undo that. Tangent's like a verb. So I'm going to untan by taking the inverse tangent of both sides. And by doing that, it eliminates the tangent. Those are inverse functions of each other, leaving just x. And I'm left with the inverse tangent of 16 over 5. With my calculator, I can then say second tan. That pulls up the function just above it in yellow. That's inverse tan of 16 divided by 5. And that gives me a solution of 72.6459. 975. And if I want to round this to the nearest tenth, as this whole thing seems to be, I'd look at breaking it after the tenth. This is less than half, so I get 72.6 degrees because this was an angle. Hope that helps you understand a bit about angle of elevation